we invite guests to come by and get high with us here in Nevada's original Cannabis Lounge. So let's get into it. What is going on, guys? Welcome back to the NuWu Sessions podcast. We're back at it with another one here for episode 44 with the guys from Dr. Dabber, Mr. Jamie Rosen and Daniel Marshall. Welcome to the pod, guys.
What's up? Thanks for having us.
Yeah, of course.
What up, Tom? Thank you so much.
Hey, man, I'm excited to have you back. I know I reached out to Daniel, I think it was like last week, about trying to let's do a redo. We had Daniel on for episode 26. A lot's changed since we did that one. So excited to have you back and just kind of touch base and tell the story. So, let's get into it. First of all, I want to make sure, for the people who are watching who might not be familiar with Dr. Dabber, I got a fancy little intro here. So Dr. Dabber is a technology-driven vaporizer company that works tirelessly to develop and create the coolest, most innovative vaporizers on Earth, according to the website, which is a great plug.
Hell yeah.
Dr. Dabber was founded in 2013 to solve the issue of questionable quality and data technology of the vaporizer market. And as I just said, today we've got the CEO and founder, Mr. Jamie Rosen, and Daniel Marshall, his sales manager here on the NuWu Sessions. So excited to have you guys on, excited to get into it and talk all things Dr. Dabber. But I want to start, before we talk about the brand, let's take it back to younger versions of yourself and talk about how you guys were introduced to the plant. Jamie, why don't you start us off? What was your first time smoking weed like?
My first time smoking weed was, I don't know if I should, in fifth grade, for my birthday, my brother got me high. So yeah, that was my first time getting introduced to the plant.
A young man getting high for I mean, we've heard some crazy stories on that. It's not the craziest, but I feel that one. It's always when you're like, should I be saying this? Seems like, I'm not saying you should do this. This is just what happened,
We don't condone underage consumption.
Exactly, right? These days in the recreational market, it's 21 plus. But what about you, brother?
Yeah, it's probably sixth grade summer, hanging out at the skate park. You go to your homie's garage, your parents aren't home, they got a little plastic acrylic bong. It's probably the graphics, a green one with the kickback, smoking it in there. You don't really know what you're doing. I don't feel like I got high the first time, but probably the second time we were smoking blunts at the skate park. Really felt stoned. You go to the gas station, get yourself a Slurpee and some Fritos. Yeah, that was it.
There you go. Yeah. My man's got like a photographic memory. I don't remember that many details about my first time.
I was smoking out of loose leaf paper and shit. The second time I think it was a can. So
I feel that. I definitely had a few pop can sessions, crushing it. I remember also making a bunch of MacGyver pipes and things like that. My next door neighbor was a plumber. I'd go ransack his shit just to make a bunch of little MacGyver pipes.
Get the socket head, 5-gallon bucket. Yeah,
dude. Oh man, don't even get me started on the gravity bongs. That was a whole phase of my life. That'll take over the whole podcast. But hell yeah, guys. So what were we doing professionally before we started working with Dr. Dabber?
I was a poker player. I dropped out of college about 3 years in after I had some success in poker, and I was traveling around, U.S. and Europe playing the tournament circuit.
There you go. Yeah. And weren't you in the top 15?
I was before, not live, but online. In the online days, I was ranked 12th in the world.
Wow.
For quite some time. Yeah,
that's wild. I don't know, man. I don't got the balls to be playing poker. That's just not me. But
built different.
Credit to you. Hell yeah. And what about you, brother?
Yep, I grew up in the smoke shop industry, so I worked at Mr. Bill's probably over a decade ago. I managed the smoke shop there. They're one of the oldest shops in town, I think since 1985. So they're big with humidors, glass, accessories, all that good stuff. Got me into Champs, which got me into the door with Dr. Dabber.
There you go, one foot in front of the next, right? All things in due time.
Yep.
Beautiful. And you guys are both regular consumers?
Oh yeah,
every day.
I'd assume. If you guys weren't, I'd be a little disappointed. Come on, you guys, all these cool toys. Yeah. So what's a typical session look like for you guys?
Well, different now than it was, years ago. Now I have kids, so our new device, the Switch² is perfect for quick consumption, low key, exactly what you need, and get right back into what you're doing. That's what a session looks like for me now. Obviously, it's different if I'm at a sesh or with some friends, but the majority of the time I'm not.
Yeah, so, just keeping it low key, right? Just trying to get that head change, right?
Yeah.
And what about you, brother?
Yeah, typical sesh, we work in the office together. The switches are readily available. We start our day with some coffee and some terps. And even at home, I like smoking off a heady glass rig. I don't have kids yet, but I got plenty of cats. So, the Switch² is nice to be able to take a quick dab, get back to the moment, don't got to worry about it breaking.
There you go, quick and easy, right?
Yep.
No, I feel that. I was literally on my way to work this morning to get ready for this podcast. I had my gold wrapped XS, trying to get me where I'm trying to go, because I learned this lesson a long time ago on this podcast. I'm like, if I don't sesh before the podcast, I'm just going to be sitting here staring at you guys, being like,
What?
But no, the same reason. The excess, it's convenient, it's portable. You know what I mean? Gets you where you're trying to go in a nice, easy to go package, right? So
Super convenient.
oh yeah. So are you guys both mostly extract users? I'm sure we consume some flower, but is it mostly extract, or what's that look like?
For me, I was primarily over the years. I went back to a lot of flower smoking. Once the Switch 2 came out, for me it's so convenient. I was able to get back into the dabbing with the kids and everything like that. So now probably 95% dabs and 5% flower. I more use my flower as like a delivery method for my hash. I'll make a hash hole or something like that. But obviously I do like the terps and enjoying like a joint.
100%.
Yeah.
That's a good ratio. 95.5 right there. I mean, yeah, because flower is never going to go away. It's part of the staple. But I know I'm probably in a similar ratio myself. I prefer the wax, but the flower still gets you where you're trying to go. There's nothing kind of like a hash hole or something that's just like you get that head change. Getting you where you're trying to go. Right?
Exactly.
Really take you there.
Oh, yeah. And what about you, Ben?
I'll echo the same. I love the ritual of rolling a joint, smoking it with your homies. But I've probably been more dabs and then getting back into flower, the opposite of Jamie. I love the traditional aspect of heating up your torch, heating with your temp timer, everything you need, and then working at Dr. Dabber, having access to the XS and the Evo just kind of helps me out. If I'm at the concert, I'll take my XS, but dabs at home, flower at the concerts.
There you go. That's a good way to divide it up. You know what I mean? Got to get that game face on for the show, right?
Yeah.
So hell yeah, guys. So what sparked your interest in wanting to even work in the cannabis space?
Me personally, I've always been super involved in cannabis. Even when I played poker online, my name was the Chronic 420.
Nice.
My AOL name back in the day was like Strictly Crypto. It was that's what they called fireweed in Florida when I was growing up.
Gotcha.
So it was always part of who I was. Growing up, people always came to me for advice on weed, and that followed into the poker world, and I've always had a very close relationship with the plant.
There you go. I mean, I feel that, and I feel like in seeing some of the other interviews, I've heard you talk about how in the poker world there's just a lot of heavy cannabis users too. Is it?
Yeah.
But it sounds like you were definitely a heavy user before you got into the poker world. Is that correct?
Correct. Yeah, I was always from the first time I tried. I don't think there was ever a moment where I wasn't in it. I really enjoyed, cannabis and the lifestyle and everything that came along with it. So.
100%. I feel that I was definitely the kid in middle school who was getting everyone high for their first time. He's like, well, that guy always smells like weed, you know what I mean? He's probably got it, So I just feel that the gravitational pull of the plant, and just kind of I know for me at a young age, this makes me feel better when everyone tells me I'm a drug addict or whatever the case may be. But it's cool to kind of, hear these OGs who've been out here, in the scene, we've been advocating for this plant since day one. You know what I mean? I can't imagine my life personally if I didn't have the plant in it. So, it's good to see that like minds, right?
Yeah. Once it became legal, it was, everybody has an uncle that came out of the woodwork who was like, oh man, right? It was bad before, but now that it's legal, I'm going to talk to you about it all day, every day. So
all those closet consumers that are coming out, because now that it's free and open, they're like,
exactly.
I want to talk to you about your job. Yeah. 100%.
So that's very validating.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. So do you guys have any go-to strains that is a mainstay in the collection here these days, or it's just kind of what's ever around? Obviously the market's evolved quite a bit these past few years, huh?
Yeah, I've really been gravitating towards anything gassy. Of course, the Z Terps is fire. I like some lemon heads from 710. This is really cool strain called the Bundy, which is a Trop Cookies and Headbanger cross. I've really been vibing with lately, yeah. But anything gassy, I do like some fruity terps, but I like the punch, the funk.
There you go. Yeah. Hell yeah. And what about you, Dave?
For me, right now, I'm really liking, GMOs, Donnies, stuff like super gassy. And then I fall back on Z terps for, dabs. I enjoy more gassy strains for smoking flower and more fruity terps for smoking rosin.
Okay.
Yeah, I just
I feel that though. Yeah. I definitely I like a nice fruity dab myself, but if I got some flower, I'm a sucker for your sour D's and I know those classic gassy strains. It's just takes you back to when you're going to the plug's house. Pull out the big old turkey bag, you put your face in there oh, I just want to live in there. Cool, man. So we should probably start talking about some product and maybe get our product introduced here. If Miss Yaya could please introduce her table package. I know we got some excesses, we got some extracts and some fun things, but I'll let her take it away.
Excellent. Shout out, yeah.
All right. Hi, guys. I'm bringing you guys some of our packages, items that we use on a day-to-day basis. Of course, we have the Dr. Dabber XS, so I am bringing one over for each one of you guys. Want to help me push that?
Yes, ma'am.
Thanks.
Take one down, pass it around.
All right. It's definitely very popular, so if you guys want to come check one out, I definitely would recommend it for any of our electric devices. Our bong. Got a couple of pre-rolls for you guys.
Shout out LP Exotic.
Shout out. Yeah, these turned out sick. I haven't seen them in person in a while because you can only get them here. We don't even have these.
They're one
Dude,
of
yeah,
my
they came out
favorite
great, man.
These are so sick.
Remember in those original conversations, we look at the renderings like, oh man, these are going to be clean.
You guys aren't gonna share it, but we do provide some like sanitary wipes. So you guys, if you guys share anything like that, we have some GOP. We have our grinder in.
Nice NuWu branded. Shout out Kozo grinders.
That one's terpenoline.
GOP is super sticky, so that grinder would definitely come into hand. We have Matrix and Tsunami.
Beautiful.
Tsunami.
Hey, you guys enjoy.
Thank you. So yeah, guys, we got a ton of fun product. I know I grabbed this guy. This is GG4 Rosin by Matrix. You know, again, we're talking about some classic, landrace strains there. I can't remember the strain on the Tsunami, but obviously
the garlic butter from Tsunami.
There we go. We were talking about GMO, anything in the garlic family. I definitely I'm a fan of. Yeah. So that's a live resin. We got a rosin. We got some uninfused pre-rolls. We got some flour if we want to do bong loads, or we got cones and papers if we want to, roll something up. But how do you guys want to get started?
Well, I guess we start with a dab. And
Start with a dab.
Yeah, it's a Dr. Dabber episode, right? Yeah, let's do it right.
Dab.
Hell yeah. Well, I mean, so we were just talking on the XS here too, because I definitely wanted to take an opportunity to just kind of talk about the partnership. When we had Daniel on for episode 26, we were debuting the XS when it was brand new. Shortly thereafter, we got everything signed for the co-branded Sky High Lounge XS that you can get exclusively here at NuWu. We've had these for like 3 years now, because I know we've had the XSs included in our NuWu Cup cycle the past 2 and about to be 3 years now.
Yep.
So definitely a lot of love in there. Not to mention this is the exclusive e-device of the lounge. So any of our like big activations, like we were just talking about the 420 State Fair before the show, we did the Dabros last year, which was cool. That was produced by Redman.
Yep.
It's a big comedy cannabis kind of convention where basically if the comics bomb, the crowd starts chanting dab and they make them dab. And these were all through the XSs. So we got some cool stuff coming out with that too. So I think it's been an amazing device.
XS dab?
Yeah. Yeah, shout out Scott McKinley. I know they're throwing an event here later in August. We definitely look forward to participating. Shout out Redman too.
Hell yeah. No, it's going to be, Cantana Fest. Keep your eyes peeled on that one. We're going to get him here on the podcast too, so we can kind of talk about that one.
Amazing.
But Scott, Redman, the team over there, great guys. And it was cool when we were filming everything because, they had the film crew, they're producing the episode, and just seeing like the XS like through the camera and all these like big ass dabs that these guys were getting on stage. It was cool to see,
Yeah, it's amazing. It's really cool to see this XS collab. For those who don't know, this will feature a quartz atomizer. It does have a spill-resistant glass, so if you're out and about on the go, this does fit in my pocket, my crossbody bag, and then we'll give you 4 temperature settings, ranging from like 475 to 625. And if you get locked with this care package here, I know you get the XS with that, right?
Yeah, if you get any of our table packages here, I want to say it was like our Platinum High Roller and our Silver Elite come with the XS. The lower packages do come with a rental,
right.
But if you want to take one home with you, the Silver Elite and the Platinum High Roller, you get to try your XS and then leave with it,
Awesome.
Yeah, amazing. So, this is the only place in the world you can get this gold XS, so if you want to get right, make sure you come to Sky High Lounge.
Hell yeah, let's get it.
Yeah, these are easy 5 clicks on and then just a press and hold to start the heating. I've got mine on the highest setting, and the best way to hit this one is nice and gentle like a bubbler. Sip it to rip it, you'll get dense clouds.
I've said it several times on this podcast since we had you on when you said it's a sipper, not a ripper.
Yeah.
And I've used that quote in so many episodes of the podcast. Just be like, don't hit it too hard. Just, get your flavor in. So
it works well. So cheers. Salud.
Cheers, guys. Let's get it. Woo.
Nice little 12-second heat.
All that ASMR right here.
Nice gentle sip.
Oh, there we go. Mine a little delayed there, but man, it tastes good. Shout out to Tsunami. That garlic butter's fire.
Oh yeah, probably do a read on that for sure. Some nice live resin. Probably got a 15-second hold time, and then you can get at least 1 or 2 more depending on what you're putting inside.
Yeah, this garlic butter, 74% THC, 19 megs of caryophyllene, 14 limonene, and 7.3 on the humulene. So tasty. Hell yeah. All right, now we're getting some terps in. It's probably a good time to talk about Dr. Dabber.
Lay it on us.
So what inspired the creation of Dr. Dabber, and how did the company get started?
So originally when I was playing poker, consumption was a huge part of, everything to do with poker, right? We went out on breaks, we played, after work, we played, we smoked, and during the World Series of Poker, right, there's 2 hours of play and 20 minutes of break. And generally on those breaks, all the people who consume would shuffle out that back door, and there would be a huge, circle. Everybody would be smoking, different rotations and different consumption methods, and everybody would just be talking about hands and smoking weed. And one summer, they started really like kicking people out, like cracking down on that. And it was right around the time when concentrates just started becoming public facing. You had like maybe 2 brands that had vape pens, load as you go vape pens at the time, but no one really knew about it unless you were like kind of in the know, like early adopter, whatever. So bringing that into the poker world and just showing them, basically a transition from flower to concentrates and how easy it is. And at the time, it was right around the time when e-cigarettes were popular, and the big, the straight up and down ones that looked like a pen. People were smoking them everywhere. They weren't
those were
regulations yet. So people were smoking vape pens in the tournament. So I introduced a lot of poker players to these other brands, units and concentrates. The problem was with these devices, they all heated up super hot. And as a everyday consumer, I kind of knew at the time, even though it wasn't like kind of public that you're not supposed to take hot dabs, like everybody was heating red hot at the time.
Yeah, I remember that.
But I just knew that I wanted to taste, the full, spectrum of the flavors, right? So I wasn't happy with the designs, and I knew that the way everybody was adopting the product that I was showing them, that it was really going to take off eventually, because poker players were super early adopters. So I introduced them to the pen. I found a manufacturer, and I told them I would like a lower heat on the overall performance. They made us the device. I was selling them out of my trunk, unbranded. They really took off, and I created a brand out of it.
That's amazing. Yeah. I mean, I think you hit the nail on the head when you were just talking about like that low temp, because I do think in those early days of dabs, like when you said everyone was heating it red hot, I mean, I remember my first dab and just a glowing red titanium nail, and like my lungs hurt just thinking about it. It sounds like you were early to the curve there, just thinking like, I want to be able to taste this. I want to be able to actually like understand all that hard work the cultivators put into that plant and really give it the respect it's due. So shout out to you guys for just being early to that race, because without people kind of understanding that and making those moves, I don't think we'd be where we are today, because these days in the expression, you got to waste it to taste it, right?
Yeah, that's right.
I think that's what the kids say. I don't know.
You got to respect your hash. So we're operating at a low temperature with the insert tech and quartz. Hash is kind of pricey. You want to give it the best and have that best experience.
Mm-hmm. Exactly, yeah. You get every penny's worth out of it, right? So what was the story behind the Dr. Dabber name?
So at the time, I had a product. I didn't have a name or anything like that. I was thinking about like calling it Mr. Dabber and having another pen that was pink, and it would be a Mrs. Dabber. And that was originally kind of like what I was thinking about doing. And I was smoking with a friend, and he brought up the fact that the doc, he's like, what about Dr. Dabber? It really flows. The double D, it's very like it works, right? And I was like, wow, that's much better. Yeah. And I basically took that. I went to an ad agency. I said, I need branding, website, logos, packaging, assets, anything you really need to get going, website. And they did everything for me. And basically, Dr. Dabber was born,
That's amazing. I do think you landed on the better name. There's probably another universe out there with a Mr. Dabber and a Mrs. Dabber. I think we're in the universe where you guys are thriving. So definitely the double D, the alliteration's nice. And I think just with the doctor moniker, it's like, no, we're experts in the dabbing field. You know what I mean? It's just, it rolls off the tongue. So I think you got a winner with that one.
That's right.
So Let's talk about like the early years. We talked about kind of how it was founded, but can you share a story behind selling those devices out of your trunk in the early days?
Yeah, so I was just going around, basically around the poker stops, selling to all the poker players originally. Once that kind of moved on, like let's say the World Series over for the summer, I started taking it really seriously, like a job. I started driving around, going to different shops. Just really like asking them to give me a chance. I have a new product. I had a handwritten letter. I was going around saying, hey, just give me a chance. Give me some shelf space. If it doesn't sell, I'll buy it back. I'm not looking for any like free, I just want some support. And this was like, I went around. We founded in Florida. So I would basically like we founded in Boca. I would go up to Miami or as south as I can go. And I would hit up, for a day or two, I'd go to every single shop I can go to down there. And then I would move up to, the next city and the next city, the next city, and the next city, and the next city. And I went all throughout Florida for the first couple months. Same thing, just, give us a shot. We found a shop that really, really adopted the product. They loved what we were doing. They really put us on. They had a strong social media presence. They were big with influencers. They put us in parties and everything like that. Shortly after, found distribution, and it kind of just like all kind of rolled out. It was bigger than me after about 6 months in.
Wow.
So
it's pretty quick.
Yeah.
Testament to your grind. So you guys were founded in Florida. It sounds like you got your foothold really in like the poker community and
Yep.
just in the home state, just kind of going door to door trying to get different smoke shops to pick up the product, right?
Yep.
That's cool, man. I mean, that's a testament to the grind. So at what point did you guys expand beyond that?
So 2016, so we were founded in 2013. We worked out of an apartment for the first year and a half. We moved into a small office. We had it was me and two other guys for the first probably 2.5 years. Then we moved the company to Las Vegas. We were always going for trade shows and stuff like that. Daniel was working at Mr. Bill's at the time. We were going out for Champ shows. I went in there to buy, all my accessories when I came out to Vegas. Daniel was always super helpful behind the counter, and I just knew, hey, when I need to build a team, this is the guy I want, right? Like he was super informative about every product. He had a smile on the face every time I walked in there. He was super eager to help. That's like what you look for from anybody who works at a smoke shop, anybody who works behind the counter at a dispensary. You're going for knowledge. I used to go to a head shop, and it's not now like with social media, people go into the head shop and tell them what they want. I used to go into the head shop and ask them what I should get, right? Those are the people who are in it. And so, yeah, it's I just knew that's when I wanted to expand. Daniel was the first. I went in and asked him if he'd like to join the team. He did, and the rest is history. We went from 3 to 4 to 6 to 20. So we've probably around 2016 is when we started really expanding.
Cool. And then you said that's when you moved to Vegas specifically?
Yeah, exactly.
That's amazing. I mean, because coming up on 10 years in Vegas then here next year, right? And I know Dan was the first person I met from the Dr. Dabber team. To your point, you know what I mean? Always you representing the brand, speaks very well of the products, very knowledgeable. So I think you definitely, got a winner there, and testament to your brand as well. He's still here, 9 years later, right? Rocking and rolling.
You have 9 years going on 10.
That's amazing. So it's cool. So when we moved to Las Vegas, you said it was mainly the conventions, right? I mean, Las Vegas is like the one place in the world where the world comes to you, right? So was there any ties you had to Vegas before that moment? Like, what was part of just that decision going from Florida to Vegas?
Yeah, so I mean, I lived in Vegas when I played poker originally, from 2007 to 2010, right
Makes
before
sense.
it became illegal, and I had to move out to Cyprus. But I just knew how convenient Vegas was as a place, and we were traveling. It was California, Vegas, Colorado were the three hubs where all the conventions are. So, traveling from Florida to those and back and forth, it gets to be a lot. So we were just looking at moving the company. We weren't convinced on Vegas, or it was between Denver, California, and Las Vegas, essentially.
Gotcha. The big weed markets, right?
Right. And I felt like California at the time was a bit saturated because Vegas was going rec, and Cali had kind of been the staple. Denver, my wife said it was too cold, so that was out of the question. And I had lived in Vegas before, and I just knew the convenience. It takes 15 minutes to drive anywhere in Vegas. You could get a meal at 2 a.m. that's 5 stars. It's better than any, suburb restaurant in the country. I can go to a concert on the weekend, drive 10 minutes away. I could take an Uber, go to a bar. I can go to a UFC fight, a football match, whatever.
100%.
So basically, it was a no-brainer for me to get back here.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's a good home for you. Like I said, I mean, with the conventions, like I said, the world comes to you here.
Yep.
And, a stone's throw from the Cali market, too, because definitely, they're definitely big players in the game. Shout out to they're like the OGs as far as what American cannabis looks like. But no, I mean I think you found a good home in that. And so if we're taking it back to like 2016, we're moving to Vegas, we're building the team. We've got Daniel adding on there. What was one of the biggest hurdles that you kind of faced, like in that, like, I'm not selling out of my trunk anymore. We've got a team, we've got a location, we've got a hub, but now we got to expand this and take this like nationwide. What were some of the biggest hurdles you had to overcome at that point in time?
The biggest hurdles were thinking that we needed to expand fast and bringing on people who didn't come from the industry. Right around the time where recreational started, popping up all over the country, it seemed like a lot of people were pivoting from other, jobs, from alcohol, clothing, whatever it was, to the marijuana industry. They had beefed up resumes. They had, a lot of experience in marketing and stuff like that. Bringing those people on was, thinking that they could take you to the next level, when you realize it's not those people who really aren't in it and don't know how to talk about it. And a resume doesn't mean shit in this industry. So that was the biggest hurdle. And then getting over that hurdle was realizing that I could just promote within people who enjoy smoking, consuming, understand where we came from, where we're wanting to go. That was basically, that turning point.
I feel low and slow is the way to go, right? Yeah. Put in the work, put your head down and just kind of grind that axe, eventually the things you want are going to come to you.
Yeah.
And if you take care of the people that are on your team, to your point, who understand the culture, understand the brand, I think that's always the way to go. It's hard to build when you're constantly having to like replace parts,
Exactly.
So to that point, let's talk about the team. We already talked about how Daniel introduced here, but who are some of the core players in the Dr. Dabber team, and what do they bring to the table?
I mean, everybody company-wide is super important. We have a small team. We keep it very tight, and I would say some standout departments are obviously our customer service. We're award-winning. We win. We're not in the business of selling broken devices. If you have a device, we want you to have a functioning device. So we take our warranty and our customer service super serious. There's a lot of companies that you feel unheard when you reach out to the customer service or anybody, and we don't want that. If somebody has a bad experience, they'll tell 20 people, and if somebody has a good experience, they may tell 5. But we want to keep that everybody having good experience. So number one is our customer service. I would say obviously our sales and marketing, creative, all great. Our warehouse ships out promptly. Everybody, there's not one person in the company who doesn't really add value, and it's a really close-knit team, and the average person has been with us probably for about 4 or 5 years right now.
Wow.
So I don't think I think probably the person with the least time now is we have a brand new person, but before that maybe 3 years, 4 years coming up on their anniversary. So
that's cool.
Yeah,
they wouldn't be sticking around if they weren't happy. So
we'll try to keep it
build
tight
a solid team. Yeah. No, that's awesome. And I think you're right. I mean, I think the customer service is something you guys do really well. Daniel, you hooked up my brother. He bought an Evo here from NuWu. It was a couple years back. I can't remember now. I know he had some issue or whatever, and he was texting me. He's like, dude, what do I do? I'm like, let me put you in touch with my boy Daniel. You know what I mean? And I remember he was just floored because you had a device in the mail within a week. And since then, to your point, you know what I mean? Everyone he's talked to, because he has his Evo with him everywhere, and he's like, Dr. Dabber, like they did me right, and I'm just trying to make sure that, like, I let everyone know about Dr. Dabber. So I think you're right. You know, people will definitely, if they have a negative experience, they'll tell the whole world. But when they have a positive experience, they're going to tell their homies. But those are probably the people that are going to be like-minded like them. They're going to be cannabis users. They're going to be dabbers, and they're going to need that device, keep them on the go. So, no, I think that's awesome. And I mean, Daniel. So, like we said here, I remember Daniel was instrumental in getting the whole gold wrapped XS even into existence. Long time, you know, supporter of NuWu and all the activations we've had. Daniel's also been a NuWu Cup judge for 2 years, if I remember correctly. And you even performed at the NuWu Cup Awards ceremony for the 2023 NuWu Cup with Peter Dante out here.
Oh yeah, we did. We did inside here with the Roaring 20s. We did a DJ set. Yeah,
that's right. So Daniel's definitely no stranger to NuWu, and definitely we appreciate all the support and all the love that you've given us. And it's stoked to be sitting here, even just enjoying these gold wrapped XSs, because like I remember, again, like I said at the top of the show, man, when I saw the renderings, this, like, this is going to be so cool. And compared to what I've seen any other dispensaries or lounges do in the market, I think it's just a flex to have like your brand on an e-device, because the Dr. Dabber name holds weight, you know what I mean? But we think ours does too. So with the collab and just letting everyone know that, like, this is the only place in the world you can get a gold wrapped XS, and you can also get from the team hands-on experience, just like you'd be getting if you had Daniel here kind of breaking down the device, because when we first onboarded, you were here training up the team, blessing up with XSs, making sure everyone understood the device. So shout out to this man again, all the hard work he's poured into making NuWu better and Dr. Dabber better. Like I said, the reason we're sitting here today is because of this man and the amazing team that you've built here. So like I said, I can see it and I can feel the passion from anyone and everyone I've met from the Dr. Dabber team. You know, it's definitely got that familial vibe, you know, so everyone's passionate about what they do and they want to move the device forward. So I think that's just amazing. But building on that, so you guys launched the Switch². This was last year, right? 2024?
October 24th.
October of 24. I remember because when we had you on the podcast, we were talking about the Switch1. What did you guys want to do with the Switch2? To build on what you did with the Switch1, but what was kind of the decision behind, okay, we want to do the 2 and this is what we want to do different with it?
So the Switch1 was a project that we started basically just trying to build the best possible vaporizer for concentrates without a lot of thought put into aesthetics or anything like that. We started, our prototype was on a wood board with an induction coil, some cups, and you know, everybody coming into the office and taking dabs off a wood board, right? It didn't really change too much once we went into production. It was built by an engineer. It was big, bulky. It worked like a beast. There's a lot of people that love the Switch1. It was just very intimidating. It was awkward. It was big. You know, the dishes was small. You had to coach somebody how to hit it. We took feedback over, you know, 4 years before we started actually developing the Switch2. We took all that feedback very closely, like you know, close to heart, and we basically corrected everything that was wrong with the device. We made the cup bigger. We made it app controllable, so it was less intimidating. It's 3 buttons right now, plus minus temperature and go. Everything else is controlled through the app. We have dynamic heat modes. So another problem, not necessarily a problem, but something that was overlooked with the Switch1 and every e-rig on the market, including even the XS, is that all e-rigs up until now have been made to heat up to temperature and stay evenly heated throughout, like an e-nail. The issue is with this is, as your dab gets smaller and smaller, it starts to create an oven-like environment. It starts to change the flavor. It starts to you feel it in your chest. With this, what we're doing is we're reaching temperature and we're starting to decline 1 degree every second. So we're actually mimicking a torch and banger experience where thermal decay happens, right? When you stop heating a banger with your torch, it instantly starts declining in temperature. That's why a lot of people prefer to smoke off glass than e-rigs, is because the flavor is on point the whole way through. It doesn't hurt your chest. So we were really able to replicate that with the Switch2. It has a 20 millimeter quartz bucket. We use an IR sensor on the inside. That's like a dab right. That's always measuring the temperature of the bucket. It's super easy to clean. There's no, like I said, no atomizers to replace. So if you keep it clean, you really never have to buy anything for it. That's the atomizer, or that's the bucket right there. So pure quartz, it can be cleaned back to brand new in about 10 minutes. That's our single crystal sapphire upgrade.
Oh,
so that's
okay.
the only accessory currently we have right now. We do have some more coming soon. But that's pretty much the best surface you can dab off of, that single crystal sapphire. Out of the box, the Switch 2 is unbelievable. The Sapphire adds just it's like the next game-changing, experience.
I definitely agree with what you're saying. I think you made a more compact, seems more stable, less intimidating.
Yep.
Because I remember seeing the Switch one, I was like, oh man, this thing's big. And you can do flower and extracts out of this? Or
it does work the same as the Switch 1. So technically you could smoke flower. We kind of abandoned that in our marketing because we noticed that, it was a very small percentage of people that use it for flower. And overall, it does affect the flavor when you're smoking concentrate. And,
if you're bouncing back and forth, you're going to have some plant
we're pretty
material.
big hash heads, and we're really not going to smoke flower personally. So if we're not smoking flower out of it, I don't really feel like we should be marketing for flower. If there is somebody who wants to just primarily smoke flower out of it, great, they will work for sure. But I just wouldn't recommend mixing a flower device and a concentrate device.
No, it makes sense. I mean, that's when we first onboarded with student classes, the same thing, because we were doing some smoke drinks, doing like the hickory and stuff like that, and they're like, don't smoke weed through this because you're not going to get that same flavor out of it. It does make sense. You want to pick a side. And I remember that when the first one, when I was like, wow, you can do both. Because I was a dry herb vape, like exclusive guy for like 5 years. So I definitely appreciate it. But I do think, to your point right there, it's like there's a difference between doing a dry herb vape and like an e-rig, you know what I mean? And I think it's in the name, Dr. Dabber. I think that's your audience and that's where you want to be at.
Yeah, so that was the decision that was made, is like, we could do a lot of things okay, or we could do one thing really, really well. So let's just focus on that.
100%. So can you explain descent mode and how that elevates the experience compared to traditional e-rigs?
Yeah, like I was just saying, basically, we want to replicate a dab rig. We don't want to replicate an e-rig or an e-nail. The best possible flavor comes from a rig with a torch because of thermal decay. The end of the taste should taste just as good as the beginning. Hash is very expensive, and it tastes very good. So why would you ruin that flavor? You shouldn't have to give up that experience when you're smoking out of an e-rig. So basically, we just made it to, just one click on that. So we just made it to really replicate that rig and torch experience.
I haven't used one of these butter knives. I'm sorry.
Just one click. One click.
There
to
it
drop,
goes. Perfect.
2 clicks for
I've seen it in the content. You guys are doing the drop?
Yep.
Which great idea.
The highest drop challenge.
That had me dying, dog.
Man, see, look, they seen it, Jamie.
Yeah, that was good. That was good. What was it when you had the stairs and shit? Like, man, how many takes did that take? That was edited, right? Come on.
Yeah, little camera magic, but
there you go. But see, you guys got some impeccable aim.
That was 50 stories up or something like that. I was like,
about 25 tries. A lot of wasted hash.
But hey, you know what I mean? The content lives forever.
100%.
When I saw that, I was like, damn, man, I need to hang out these Dr. Dabber R&D sessions. This shit looks fun.
Hey, you saw it.
But
typical sesh looks like that.
Yeah.
Check out the highest drop challenge if you haven't seen it. We want to see your highest drop. We'll give you some cool prizes.
So you got to be that 50-story drop right there.
So with the Switch 2, there's a power switch on the back, right above the USB-C port. You can power that bad boy on.
Perfect.
Give it a little haptic feedback. Out of the box, it's going to start at 480 degrees with that descent mode. It's probably a really good platform to start.
Okay.
You just hit that circle button when you want to go.
Just press and hold?
Yep. That one's heating with
No, just hit it one time.
One click?
Yeah, just a tap.
Cool. And the colors, I mean, she's heating up there?
No. If you click it one time, there you go.
I held too long. There we go.
Yeah.
And then the Dr. Dabber, the red showing you it's heating up. Green means go.
Green means go. That one will heat from induction from all the sides and the bottom. There's an internal IR sensor, so it'll reach 480 and then slowly ramp downwards 1 degree per second. So it'll taste really good all the way throughout. As your dab is vaporizing and getting smaller, the terpenes preserve itself all the way throughout your experience.
And these things, I'm assuming, is how you can temperature control?
Yep. So
if you wanted to?
You can connect it to your phone if you like, but we use it just out of the box. If you do connect it to your phone, you can customize those 5 heating profiles to the exact degree, those 3 heating profiles, ascent, descent, and steady. And there's some really cool features we're working on in the future to really improve the quality of life of the Switch.
The app looks sick. Like I said, we were talking about it before the podcast. I saw the Dope as Yola review of the Switch 2, and it looks sleek, man. Like I said, I'd be the first person like, all right, let's get this app up here. I know what temperatures I want to be at. I need to make this thing mine, right?
Yeah, it's neat, bro. You can see how many dabs you have. I think I'm like 2,300, and Jamie's probably around the same. But then we've had like multiple devices testing throughout, and when you disassemble it to clean, the internals look really good for how many dabs you smoked, which is most impressive to me.
Right on.
Yeah, we were at an event the other night. We gave hundreds of dabs probably, and we opened it up to show somebody what a deep cleaning looked like, and it took about 5 minutes to get back to brand new looking.
Wow.
So,
I mean, that's definitely something that you want to get dialed into the design phase, because I think we've all probably experienced this industry. I know for me personally, it's like terp slurpers and things like that. You have all these little pieces of quartz and all these little things that you inevitably drop and break and things like that. But I think there's just a beauty and simplicity, and it's functional at the end of the day. We're all potheads. We're gonna be like, cool, I just want to do another dab like now. I don't want to spend like 10 minutes cleaning all my stuff to get over there again.
Yeah, the convenience, as much as I love the ritual, it's not as accessible to other people. Like here now, you can bring people to the XS, your aunt, your uncle, and they can now enjoy high quality rosin resin. Then at home, then I can dive into the Switch². It looks like an appliance that fits into your kitchen. Yeah. We love the coffee comparison. Please keep that coming. It just normalizes consumption for everyone. 100%.
Yeah. It definitely feels like something I'd want to have like on my coffee table at home. Like this is the sesh. I'll take the XS out and about, but this thing, I mean, it's got a great feel. Just the way it fits in your hand. All the other functionality is what you would come to expect from a Dr. Dabber device, and that dab tasted amazing. I think you were, with what you got with the atomizer, the insert.
Yep.
That's money. So very exciting. Congratulations on the launch of the Switch², and I can't wait to see what's coming down the pipeline. Is there any new innovations you guys are working on that we can, tell our viewers about today?
When does it air? we have a couple things that we're working on. I think that we really conquered the countertop desktop home portable, semi-portable device. You can expect us to really go hard for the portable revamp, kind of take what we see in the Switch² and kind of move that, forward to our whole line.
Very nice. Very nice. Well, I'll be paying attention, because I remember, again, when we were just talking about the XS, again, I was excited. I'm like, man, you guys are always just innovating and moving the needle and not afraid of the competition. There's, you're not the only guys in the space, but I think you definitely stand out and stand alone with the devices you're doing and the consistency and the customer service, like we were saying. So I think you guys are doing an amazing job. But what role does the R&D play in these devices? Because, I mean, I know we've joked about it, like, off camera, you know what I mean? It's like, but I can only imagine, like, if you guys are trying to design devices that are going to, like, change what, e-rigs look like for the next 5 years, like, you have to be users. You have to keep your fingers on the pulse and know what's going on. So, yeah, what role does R&D play in the Dr. Dabber development?
I would say many, many hours of, like how Jamie was describing the Switch². I was on a wooden board. We would come into the office. He tested, sit down, kind of blind, individually. How did you like it? How was it taste? Was it too hot? Was it too cold? How could it be better? Even with the Switch² right here, so many hours just sitting at the office, just almost like banging your head against the wall until you get it right. So when you experience the Switch², I feel like everything that you get from that is from so many hours of R&D, sitting down with the crew, taking dab after dab after dab until it's right. And then we're not going to release it till it's right. So expect that from the next generation of tech to come. But I mean...
Yeah, it starts off with our engineers. We have masterful, like the smartest, guys you've ever seen running our engineering team. It starts there, and they're not big consumers, so it's passed on to us, and we're pretty, I guess you can say, I don't want to say like snobby smokers, but we have access to a lot of the best materials, and we know kind of what to expect. So unless something's perfect, we won't release it. It goes into just like changes are being made. We get the prototype. We spend days, weeks, hitting it, making notes, going back and forth. We started designing the Switch². We started thinking about it in 2019. We started prototyping different things in 2021. So it came out 2024. That took it from start to finish almost 5 years.
Wow.
So there's a lot of just, back and forth and just, we are the R&D. So it's our engineers, and us. We sit down in a room and we come up with ideas, a lot of riffing and a lot of, us just getting high and shooting off what we want out of a product. We're putting out products that we want to use.
There you go.
Yeah.
I mean, then that shows, at the end of the day. the market's evolved so much. I've personally been in legal cannabis for 8 going on 9 years this year, and I can just think back to like my first year when we were talking about those like red hot wrapped around a little like quartz tube, little portable vaporizers, and you're just thinking of like the growth where we're sitting here and we're looking at these like awesome like devices with apps and everything like that. Like I can only imagine, okay, what are we going to do in the next 5 years? And if we don't have people that are boots on the ground that are passionate about the plant and heady consumers understand what us as dabbers really want, you know, I mean that's the testament right there. But I wanted to pick back on something else you said. You have an in-house engineering team, right?
Correct. Yes.
And that's awesome. You said a lot of them aren't consumers.
Not at all.
Yeah. You know, some will, you know, smoke some CBD, but generally they're not. They're passionate about cannabis. They just don't consume.
Gotcha.
So that's a thing. Some people,
Yeah.
it doesn't react. You know, it doesn't agree with them, and whatever it is. But you could still be passionate about a plant and not consume. So.
Oh yeah. I know probably a dozen or more people that are, you know, boots on the ground here in the cannabis industry here in Las Vegas that do not consume at all, have maybe consumed less than 5 times in their life, but they're still, you know, on their 5th or 6th year in the cannabis industry, kind of moving the needle forward. And
Yep.
I think that's what you want out of an engineer, though, too. You know, you want to have a good line in the sand, like, okay, we're the guys who are smoking the wax. I need you to like
we
understand
smoke
what we need to
enough.
build out of it. You know,
We smoke enough for them. You know what I'm saying? Like they
Yeah,
don't
right.
need to consume. We want them, steady.
that's cool.
Not that consuming effects, but our engineers understand how consumption works
Yeah.
and like why we do what we do and why you should smoke off quartz and the temperature and the thermal decay, and they apply that to make the tech the best it is. And they kind of he calls us our space monkeys. He's building a spaceship.
That's true. Yeah.
Shout out to
That's
shout
awesome.
out.
That's cool. That's cool. How long have you had that in-house team? Because that sounds like something that would take a while to build.
Yeah, so we brought on 2017, I believe, or 2016. We brought on, we outsourced an engineer from Texas, and he brought on an assistant for the project, Switch². And we brought on that assistant as our engineer, and he basically, you know, built a team under him. So started in 2016, 2017, up until now, yeah.
Gotcha. I mean, that's cool. You know, several years, you got to time to grow, define, and refine, right? So that's cool. I can't wait to see the next spaceship. You know, that sounds like an awesome time. So what shifts are you guys seeing in consumer preferences? Especially, we were talking a little bit about it earlier, now that solventless kind of seems to be the par these days.
We were just in Barcelona visiting for Cannabis, and we were there 2 years ago and seeing how the hash rosin explosion is hitting them as well. People are educating themselves on what they want to consume, what they put in their body. So it seems like maybe over there they're just putting it into their joints, rolling it like a hash hole. But there is a small like niche community of people who are smoking out of their heady glass with their fancy electronic devices so they can have the best experience with their hash. So it's interesting to see how it's a wave all across not only the country, but the world.
Yeah, no, 100%. That's cool. We were just talking to Willie Vlasic. We got a chance to tour the doing cultivation with him over there, and he was at Cannabis. And I haven't personally been, you know, to Europe or experienced what markets look like outside of the U.S., but other than, you know, the jokes everyone's making about like spliffs and, you know, tobacco and,
Spliffs are great.
The normal things.
Even Mexico City, when we ventured down there, we went twice for Resin Mania, and then we went just a couple of weeks after. The community down there is very educated about their hash, and they're like you said, almost picky. They're just very selective.
Yeah.
You know, you just want to smoke the best. It's like fine wine when you get into rosin. So as you get into different cultivars, the plant expresses itself differently just naturally, and that's kind of what we seek. So Mexico City was really evolved. Barcelona, Amsterdam seemed like it's catching up. They're getting the heady strains, but of course it's like this California genetics still.
Yeah,
So
100%. Do you think that the rosin explosion, if you will, is that going to change what e-rigs look like? I mean, is there really, on the technical side of things, like a difference between like a live resin or a rosin, or do you think it's really about the same on the tech side?
As far as the tech goes, I think it may be a temperature preference thing.
Right.
I guess the rosin explosion kind of made you appreciate the flavor more, which made us, you know, want to make it more like a rig than an e-rig. You know,
Gotcha.
You really can like the rosin really expresses that, you know, the full plant, the flavor, the smell, everything like that. So that probably inspired us to, you know, make some changes on our devices without really thinking about that. But as far as, you know, the shift goes, it's definitely from, you know, solvents to solventless. I was even going to say, I wonder on the last time you guys did the podcast in 2021, if you had, live resin on the table or rosin. It was,
it was probably, I mean, at that point in the market,
rosin, yeah,
it would have been live resin.
Yeah, exactly.
It's kind of niche here in Vegas. You're seeing it's like a small explosion of rosin culture. Not that anything wrong with hydrocarbon extractions. It's almost you get like the full spectrum that way.
Yeah.
And you get more potent effect. People shop by THC percentage, so I feel like they're kind of hesitant to buy rosin because they'll see a lower THC.
Which they shouldn't.
Yeah, THC is a fallacy, right?
Exactly.
It's like
it's a shift profile.
Education, shopping on the terpenes. You're getting the entourage effect from the terpenes and the materials. That's what gives you the whole experience, right?
Yeah, no, 100%. Because I think probably when we did that last episode, there probably was like, I'm going to say like 3 to 5 brands, that might have been producing rosin in Nevada at that time. So definitely very niche. And since then, I can think of like 10 brands off the top of my head that have rolled out rosin lines in the past couple of years, to varying degrees of success or quality or whatever without naming names. But it's definitely more accessible. I don't think where we're at in Nevada, personally, it's still, to your point, it's supposed to be like a fine wine. It's something that you want to invest in. It's not super affordable, but you always hear these things, especially we're right next door to California, where you hear of like $20 grams of rosin and all these things.
Demand, it relates back to the tool, right? Having a tool where you can consume that, you understand like, all right, I'm going to spend $60 for a gram of rosin, but it's going to last me so long, and the effect
100%.
I get from the tool that I'm using is far more greater than any joint or bong rip you can smoke.
Exactly. And especially if you're getting that quality, you're going to have a longer lasting high and experience and everything like that. So it's going to stretch longer too,
And the health, right? Like non-combustion, you're purely vaporizing.
Exactly.
I think that's where we tap into the older demographic, especially with our products.
Yeah. And I think, it's pretty easy when you just break it down to like, okay, solventless. It's in the name. You know what I mean? Do you want to be consuming hydrocarbons? And I think the shifts I'm seeing being in the industry as long as I have is like, again, that older community that's like just kind of starting to embrace the plant, that reefer madness generation, if you will. That's like, okay, cool, my grandkid, my niece, whatever. Like someone's getting me into it, and I'm more open to it, but I'm cognizant of my health, the longevity of what I've got here, and I want to just make sure I'm putting the best thing in my body. And I think as a society, now that we're understanding and we're kind of having this big paradigm shift regarding cannabis, just generally speaking, you're like, well, why wouldn't I want to go the solventless route? If you want to start, there's still some amazing hydrocarbons out there. This tsunami was exceptional. You know what I mean? It's hydrocarbon extraction, but
good BHO hits different, man.
Yeah, but still, I do think as we continue to move forward and move the needle here on cannabis reform, I think solventless is the future. I think that's what everyone really wants. It's just how do we make it accessible, and what tools do we have to be able to really enjoy it? So,
see, the thing is with dabs is a lot of people are scared of it because they heard of somebody hitting at a hot temperature or something along those lines.
All the horror stories you hear along the way, right?
Yeah, or have done it themselves and it's like, oh, I'm never doing that again. Like even the first time, I took a dab, it was like 2006, 2007, and I just wanted nothing to do with it after that because I took too hot of a dab, and I was like, who the fuck would do that?
Yeah.
Right? Like, why are you doing that to yourself? Like,
I had a very similar
was in a
experience,
fetal position for like 3 hours. You know what I'm saying? Like, I was like, yeah. So, yes, the thing is with these devices, you could really dial in the temperature. So now when we give somebody a dab and it's their first time dabbing and they smoke cannabis every day, they appreciate the flavor that they do, right? So I'm going to set them at 440 and I'm just going to have them experience all the terps, not a whole lot of like maybe smoke. There's going to be a good amount of vapor, but mostly you're going to get the terps, right? And that's the intro to dabbing. That's going to make any everyday consumer say, holy shit, what the fuck did I just taste? I've never tasted that out of a joint or a bong or anything like that. I've been smoking we've smoked out, like got a 65-year-old, let's say, high, and they're like, I haven't tasted that. I've been smoking every day for 50 years and I've never tasted that. What the fuck, right? So that's their intro. That's going to get people in. It's all about the temperature. That's what we tell people. Oh, I'm not going to dab. Well, I'll tell you what, if you take a dab at 480 and lower, you're going to have an uplifting high. You're not going to be couch lock. It's not going to be like, anything like that. It's going to be like smoking a joint. Yeah. Right. So, but it tastes way better. It's more convenient. It's easier, etc. Yeah. So, we're really introducing a lot of people to concentrates right now. Yeah,
and I think that's the beauty behind it, because I think again that older demographic that like is always going to be scared of using a torch. You know what I mean? It's like the biggest thing I always hear from people in that are they're not familiar with extracts. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want to have a blowtorch at home. Maybe I got little ones going around. It just reminds me of some actual drug use, you know, things like that. You can make it accessible with a device like this. You can be like, fits in your pocket, spill proof, you know what I mean? A couple clicks away, a few seconds of heat up time, and you're ready to consume that product and get that experience that you haven't had before. And this feels so much less intimidating than, like, I know you were talking about your first time dabbing. I know the big old butane torches with the big old nozzle on it. You're like, you know what I mean? Like, that's going to scare people when you see stuff like that. So I think you're right. It's about the education and making it accessible and meeting the consumer where they're at. At the end of the day, I think if everyone had one of these, like, would flower fall to the wayside? Would everyone be like that 95-5 split we were talking about at the top? Because I do think concentrates are the future. You know, I don't think flower's ever going to go away, but like that's where we're at. The heady consumer wants it. You know, we wouldn't be having this rosin explosion, if you will. You know, like if that wasn't the case. So
the more they get educated, the more they're going to get move over to concentrates. The more you're going to stop needing a device that looks discreet and start getting a device that looks like it belongs on your counter next to your can opener or your soda stream or your coffee maker. You know what I'm saying? Like 100%. We're trying to break that stigma, and we want this to sit on your countertop and no one question what that is. You know what I'm saying? We're not trying to hide anything now. This is what an acceptable cannabis device looks like.
Exactly.
Right? Something that you don't need to hide.
Yeah, we're out and proud, and we're trying to make sure everyone knows about it. You know what I mean? Spread the good word and really kind of dial in this cannabis reform movement. This paradigm shift that we're having as a society, and again, testament to everyone's hard work here out there grinding and making that happen, because it ain't easy. If it was easy, everyone would be doing it, right? So we got to start wrapping up here. We got to get this lounge open, but a couple loaded questions for you. First one, if you could influence one major cultural shift about cannabis, what would it be and why?
Ooh, man, I don't know.
Loaded.
This is this is pretty loaded because I don't know. Something like I don't like how many chads are in the industry when you have like a show like MJ BizCon and we try to have a dab bar and 80% of the people saying, no, I don't do that, or they're wearing a 710 shirt and they're like, I don't know about that. Like, you know, it's a lot of fakers. And I think, I don't know. I think that, I think it would be benefit from just having a lot of, you know, the grassroots people kind of take the helm on it. I don't know. Yeah.
No, I hear what you're saying. Like we were saying at the top, you want the people that are out here that understand the culture, that are really about it, are the ones to be making the waves. You know?
I mean, you know, we'll have some people, we'll deal with some, you know, meet people from dispensaries, and those are the people who are making decisions on what gets sold or what, and they're not consuming. And it's like, well, you know, that's why, you know, you'll have some bud that will burn black or taste like it has, you know, newts in it or whatever, is because they don't know. They're just trying to sell what's coming through, and a lot of that is a disconnect from what it should be. I think it should be more, you know, care about what you're putting out and stuff like that. So that's I think the disconnect between that.
Yeah, I don't disagree. Again, without naming names, I know that there's some big, you know, corporate MSO like dispensaries and things like that, where you get people in the C-suite that are so far disconnected from the culture and really don't understand it. They're not users themselves. It's really more, it feels like a cash grab, you know. And to your point, that's where you want the people that are about the plant to be the ones making those decisions and kind of moving us forward. I know,
exactly,
in my opinion, and when I'm thinking like, what does the next 100 years of cannabis form look like? You want it to be like the people that are like us right here, who willing to get a good session at 10 o'clock in the morning,
exactly.
To be making those moves and those decisions.
As
right?
funny as that sounds, but yes,
that's true. That's exactly
like we want the people who are getting high to make the decisions.
Exactly. Right? And what about you, brother?
Yeah, great points from Jamie. Honestly, it's nice when you're able to encounter people in the industry that have a curated menu, a selection, actually care about what they're putting on their menu, so then sell to their customers, and then you're going to have great customer retention. It sucks when you go to these shows and you see people, they're like, oh, I got to talk to people. No, I'm not going to smoke. But then I question myself, like, wait, don't you work in the industry? Shouldn't you be incredibly educated and like not familiar with the plant in all aspects? When you use it, you feel highly functioning. It's not like you're using it to affect your day. It's like you'll smoke a dab and bang out a bunch of spreadsheets or whatever. So for me, if I could influence one thing in the space, is the perception that when you smoke weed, like you're lazy and you don't do shit, because everybody in this room knows, like, to get to where you are, like you work so many hours, you make a lot of sacrifices process to get there. So if only we could see that shift into people that care about it. You're curating your menus, you care about the plant, you're very familiar with it, and you want to spread that passion with others. I think the whole industry will shift as a whole.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. I mean, with what you just said, it takes me back to like the medical days. You know, I knew for me personally, like I had to have that paradigm shift as like a bud tender when I was first like out here, like earning my stripes in the industry. Like I had to think, I'm like, okay, I'm telling people how they can use cannabis to improve their day-to-day life, like 40 hours a week.
Yeah.
And I'm not even thinking about that interpersonally. You know what I mean? Like for me, if I'm in pain or I'm just having a rough day, you know, like that dab in the morning is making it so I can come here, put my best foot forward to do the work that I need to do. And I think you're right. That's the paradigm shift that we need to have.
You're
and
focused. Yeah. It's like
Exactly.
having your morning coffee, you know?
Yeah. This isn't like Scooby-Doo and we're all shaggy like yoinks, you know what I mean? Like we're out here, I mean sometimes it is, but
with the perception from Hollywood, we can kind of blame that. Like Hollywood influences our perception on lots of different things,
100%.
especially like cannabis culture and you know, the war on drugs. Like you think it's the devil's lettuce, right?
Yeah.
You smoke weed, it's just they're importing that from below the border. It just influences crime, but it's really not like that.
yeah, no, I agree. Hollywood has done us a big disservice in that regard, and we're all just dumb and laughing at
And
stupid
continues
shit.
to do it.
It continues,
Yeah,
yeah.
they
It
can do
influences
that.
not only cannabis culture, how we think about people, you know, like at the end of the day, like we're melting our minds together as we smoke. We're here for the same common goal.
Exactly.
And how many friends have you met where you've like bonded on like the love for the plant where you never
Yeah.
would expect to be homies with them? So
100%, man. Yeah,
Like,
no, you're 100% spot on.
It's
Yeah.
interesting to see how many people we meet like don't even smoke weed. So
Yeah, no, 100%, man. Yeah, so Hollywood, get your game up. Let's go.
Industry homies, come on.
Hell yeah. So my last question, the last loaded one here. If you could give advice to the next generation of cannabis entrepreneurs, what would it be?
Ooh, fuck. I would say, as far as in the cannabis space, you know, just, I don't know, get your feet wet, you know, learn what works and yeah, try to get in the industry. In the dab space or in like the electronics, yeah, it's just it's a hard industry to get into. There's a lot of regulations. There's a lot of people after you. Just you get ready for a lot of hurdles. That's what I would say.
Yeah, a lot of red tape, right?
Yeah.
And what about you, brother?
Yes, stay persistent, get your foot in the door. Start as a bud tender, start as a trimmer. I've met a homie who started as a trimmer, went on to do full rosin extraction, and like he fulfilled his dream. Like that's what he wanted to do. Like stay persistent, but also stay in your own lane. I feel like it can impact you when you're looking at all these external influences on how you should act as a brand and what people think, but you shouldn't really care what other people think about you. And just stay focused. If you have that idea, don't give up on that and just believe in that and follow it through, and that shall pay off.
There you go. Wise words, all right? Start from the bottom. Just grind.
Yep.
Hell yeah.
Straight up.
Well, wise words. And appreciate you guys coming on here. This has been a very fun episode. I haven't even done a hash dab yet, but
Oh man.
we're going to do that here. We're going to do that off camera.
Yeah.
But I want to thank you guys for coming on. Jamie, Daniel, thank you guys for coming on the podcast. Make sure you guys follow them at Dr. Dabber on all socials. Check out their website, drdabber.com. Guys, this has been fun. Thank you for being on the podcast. Hopefully we
Thank
get to
you
do
so
this again
much.
real soon. So
Yeah.
we'll be rocking and rolling. But for today, make sure you follow at NuWu LV on all the channels, NuWu LV events, Sky High Lounge. Make sure you check out the website, NuWu.Vegas. And that's all for episode 44. We'll see you on the next one. We out.
Peace.
Great episode, guys. That was a lot of fun.
That was awesome.